No one would have predicted this. Racist emails sent by Donald Trump Jr. exposed. How racist? What are we talking about here on a Trump scale? Well, let's just get into it. The emails allegedly including a rash of racist comments and exchange between Donald Trump Jr. and longtime confidant Gentry Beach could come to light as part of a years-long legal battle involving the Trump scion's friend and his former hedge fund employer. The content. Tomorrow night, we're having Jews for dinner, Beach said in one email sent to Trump Jr. from Beach's account between 2005 and 2008. That's kosher, right? In another exchange, after Beach moved to Upper Manhattan, Trump Jr. referred to the area as Harlem. I hear the theme song of the Jeffersons playing in the background, he wrote. Raw story with the details here. The Jeffersons moving on up, right? That's how it went. Trump Jr. identified as the sender when the email exchange was read in court. And in another exchange, he complained about Mexicans coming to the US, quoting, encourage the Mexicans to come to the US and give them another excuse to not learn English, Trump Jr. wrote. When I have to speak to my grandchildren in Spanish, at least I know I will have you to thank. Hedge fund lawyers said Beach and Trump Jr. were among a group of Penn alumni on the group emails, which also included former Republican National Committee co-chair Tom Hicks Jr. The court records show made an anti-Semitic comment about a Jewish real estate broker who sent pornographic images to one group of the email recipients. This is lovely. Don Jr.'s comments since the leaks came out. Don Trump Jr. on Thursday mocked efforts by liberals to confront racism after his own purportedly racist messages were released as part of a lawsuit involving his friend. Now that's like the easy button of the political left. Like everything's racist. Humor is racist, life is racist. You can't have a comment without, that's not racist, former president's son said on his Triggered podcast. Well, we're triggered, Ravana. And listen, there's a lot of people who are going with this theme, this line of, you can't say anything, can't have any fun because people will say you're racist, you're anti-Semitic, you're sexist, unless you really are.
Right, so he's saying that you can't say anything without being accused of being a bigot. It's crazy because I say things all the time and I'm not immediately met with someone telling me, what you said was racist, which you said was anti-Semitic, because I'm not saying racist or anti-Semitic things. And I just also want to touch on a little bit of irony. He's talking about, I might have to speak to my grandchildren in Spanish, but you're marrying a Puerto Rican woman. So, naturally it might be passed down through the family. They might speak Spanish. And it's so, and of course the racism of it is, comes from hatred and ignorance. But it is so ignorant to, be upset at the idea that you might have a bilingual family, that your children, or that, this country is multicultural. We don't have a national language. We're supposed to be the country that takes everybody in. That's the American dream, is it not? So to see these people who have, their own families achieve this American dream now spit in the faces of other people who are looking to achieve that, it's disgusting. He's disgusting.
Yeah, it is disgusting. And the American dream to people like you, people like me, American nightmare for some others. And apparently some of them went to an Ivy League school. And now, years later, they're making use of their time by saying these racist, anti-Semitic things. And it's really sad. I think it would be lovely, Ravana, if indeed his grandchildren spoke Spanish. Maybe they could educate him, enlighten him in another language, because English does not seem to be working here. We've been trying. I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, I mean, it's not shocking to anybody that, Donald Trump Jr. is saying racist things behind closed doors. He's saying racist things in public, but I think his reaction to it is very telling, because to some of these conservatives, the most offensive thing you can call them is racist. They see being accused of being racist as the same thing as experiencing racism, which I think just goes to show how far removed they are from the experience of minority groups in this country.
Yeah, and I'll say this, even though I said I'd give you the last word, but it just seems like there used to be shame, right? People were racist, but you're right, they couldn't stand to be called that. I don't want that scarlet letter. But this punchback, this alternative set of facts that seems to become reality, just like Stop the Steal, hey, everybody's just being too sensitive. It's harming everyday people, everyday Americans who have worked hard, who want to raise their families without this disgusting hate speech and discrimination. I really think it's that pathetic, because the truth is becoming the lie yet again. Yet again, here we are with this, where this former president's son is not even embarrassed. He's issuing a public statement that is not an apology, but instead it's get out of here. You're stupid. This is ridiculous. This is weird. No, it's not. It's not. I guess I would ask you one other thing. What do we do with that? Because there is one side of the coin that says you got to call it out. You got to point to it. You got to say enough is enough. But if you're not making inroads and you're not even alarming other people, like you mentioned, the girlfriend, fiance, okay? Where's she in this? Okay, right. How does this language even escape the household?
Yeah, I think it is a difficult road, because on the one hand now, the conservatives, they don't feign, like you pointed out, they don't feign the outrage anymore. They say that this is normal, this is acceptable, this is how, everybody talks this way. And the left is pushing back in a ridiculous way, accusing us of racism. So in my opinion, we're pointing this out not to show the conservatives their own hypocrisy. They know they're being hypocritical. They don't care that they're being bigots, but I guess it's just to show everyday people that this is what they think of you behind closed doors. This is what they're saying about you, and you should know this, and maybe stop supporting them.
But we heard so much, Rivana, with the indictment and the Tuesday appearance of 45 in court again, indicted again. And we heard about the backdrop, South Florida, Cuban community strongly in support, not just Republican, but in support of MAGA. And this, once again, candidate, not to paint it with a broad brush, but there is a large contingency, a large community that supports. And I just don't understand it. And perhaps you can break it down.
Yeah, I mean, there's a large conservative base of support in the Cuban community in Florida. Usually differentiates between other Latino groups in the United States. Of course, no group is a monolith, but there is a Republican stronghold there. And you think that maybe seeing the way that they talk about you behind closed doors would relax that support. I guess in some groups it just doesn't. I guess their beliefs in conservatism are stronger than that, and it's disappointing. It's disappointing to see that, and you hope that people's hearts and minds will change when they see who people actually are, when the veil comes down. But I guess that's just what we have to keep fighting for.
We keep fighting for it, and I've been enlightened some, I should say, and been told that it's also anti-establishment. And this guy, Trump, and his offspring have somehow billed themselves as anti-establishment and outsiders, and yeah, that part.